Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wine Talks. I am Gilles Almeida, aka The Great Lebowski, and this is a segment where I review wines in approximately 5 minutes, give or take, excluding the intro, in order to give you some of them juicy context. Yeah. Now we're about to go a little bit eastern from where we were before to sunny old Spain. It's a very tiny region that's approximately a little bit less than 2,000 hectares. It's in the northeast of the country. We're about to go to Empordá. This is actually a DOCG that goes all the way back to the 1970s. However, even in the 1930s, they were already making wines, mostly powerful, intense, sweet wines. But even before that, thousands and thousands of years ago, they were already making wine by the time that the Phoenicians first started to colonize that area. So Empordá actually subdivides itself into two sub-locations. Alta Empordá in the north, Baixa Empordá in the south. It's a very Mediterranean climate location which is moderated by cold winds from the north. Highlights go to Tramontana that actually helps regulate the vines, the temperature in the vineyards, and also helps to fight off rots and infectious diseases in the vines. The soils are very dark, very loose, which allows for some drainage. And this one in particular that we're going to taste today, the Elitia 2019, these are actually old vines, older than 80 years old. That reflects itself on the price. You have to take into account that these vines, after they become 30, they require a lot more attention, more dedication, and obviously more maintenance. So as they get older, you basically need to spend more money in order to make sure they are okay. Another downside to it is that they are not able to produce something every year. They just stay in the vines for a huge amount of time, accumulating nutrients until they can finally produce something. But when they produce something, oh boy, is it something. This in combination with the terroir, again, the soils are also very poor in organic matter, so there's not that much nutrients to begin with. This is the perfect recipe for craftsmanship. I know English, damn you. And of course, for the production for artisanal style rich wines. So without further ado, I have some already on my glass. I'm about to put a little bit more into it in order to make it clean for the camera. Look how it flows. That's enough because you don't want to overflow your wine glass, let's say. So ladies and gentlemen, time to pull out them corks and grab onto them wine glasses. I'm going to put my glasses indoors, sunglasses that is, in order to live the gimmick. And let's start to taste the wine. So we're going to utilize the same wine tasting techniques from the previous episodes: balance, length, intensity, complexity, the fatal four of everything you need to know about wine. We're going to use that, and we're going to start by sniffing it from afar in order to determine its intensity. Let's get it on, shall we? So here we go. I get some nuances of red fruits, red plums, a little bit of earthy tones. I'm trying to figure out what it is, so I'm going to very sensitive swirl my glass around in order to release all of the possible aromas. And the wine goes. Anyway, I'm going to rotate the glass in order to release some of them aromas, and I'm going to shove my nose right down into it. Let's get on. By the way, this wine is not one that it really benefits from decanting in order to release some of those aromas. Immediately I got the same stuff that I got in the beginning, so red plums, red cherries mostly. This is, I'm not sure if I mentioned the grape variety, 100% Cariñena of Cariñena, if you will. Then swirl it around one more time and really get down to it one more time in order to see what's really down there. A lot of earthy tones indeed. Again, this wine aged for 12 months in French oak vats, but it also had 6 months in the bottle. Aging in the bottle brings certain nuances to the wine, like it can bring mushrooms, figs. I got a little bit of figs as well in this one. And it also can bring a little bit of forest ground into it, or even dry tobacco leaves, let's say. Here I feel a lot of forest ground, wet soil, if you will. I love this tasting profile in my wine. It feels like I'm walking the vines themselves, specifically right around the time of harvest. Maybe there was a little bit of rain. You just feel the environments into it. It's not necessarily a novelty in terms of how wine is made, but it's just something that brings so much into it, and it just takes the wine from here. Again, oak is basically like salt and pepper. The aging in the bottle it's the dish. Like if a wine really presents itself and has the structure to be aged in a bottle, the aging in the bottle is the dish, essentially. It is the actual thing where the food is in, because it just completes the wine so much. So a lot of that on the palate, figs as well, red plums, red cherries, dark cherries a little bit. One more time. It's quite the doozy, very mineral tones, if you will. Let's taste some and see if we can really notice everything on the palate as well. Everything checks out. Again, this is quite a powerful wine, but there's still a little bit of elegance. It's still very fine. You can definitely feel a lot of complexity, a lot of earthy tones. There's still a little bit of fruitiness into it, even though you have all that aging. Well, it's not too much aging. There's still a little bit of acidic components that really brings a lot to it, and it brings juiciness as well. The length is quite long, I must say, but then again, red wine does tend to have a longer palate in comparison to white wines. So in comparison to the wines that I've reviewed before, by the way, this is the first red wine on the channel. Achievement accomplished! Yeah, boy. Anyway, the length is just longer in comparison to the other ones. It's very present. In terms of balance, it's definitely there. The length is there. The intensity, it didn't feel very intense on the nose, but again, this is the type of wine that really would benefit a lot from breathing or having contact with air at least 2 hours before you actually drink it. Complexity definitely there. Another doozy, I must say. So this was Wine Talks. I hope you enjoyed it. Before I sign off, I would like to finish this with a Spanish quote that I really, really like. How did it go, by the way? I forgot. I never actually practiced these videos. Have I told you that? I'm not just saying this to gain some time until I remember what I have to say. I'm just saying, this is completely unscripted, guys. Anyway, the quote goes as the following. No hay camiño para la felicidad, que la felicidad es el camino. It's a Spanish quote that really reflects the culture of the Spanish, how Spanish people are. They try to see the positive in everything. They like to enjoy life to its fullest. And I advise you to do the same. Enjoy life to its fullest. Enjoy the little things. Enjoy time with your family, your friends. And make sure you're happy. That was so deep. This, ladies and gentlemen, I am Gil Almeida. I am the Great Lebowski. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this one. Signing off.